Hello everyone, and here once again, and we're just doing a small video on the Erdsteel off Wakizashi. This is a fun setup. I've been playing around with it for a little while. I wouldn't say I'm tourney ready on it or anything, but it's a fun setup. It's something I've been definitely enjoying playing around with. It plays off of poise counting very, very heavily, and I roll out there. Good. I do not want to eat that as I immediately walk in. He tries to go for a roll catch there on the CL1. I force in a little bit of pressure. And the way that this setup really functions, and probably one of the more interesting things about it, is that it makes poise super important and poise counting super important in order to function. Go for that R2 there to try and get that roll catch. He manages to get away. We both decide there in that one that we're not going to chance it. We're probably going to roll out. I go for an L1 into the R2, and the R2 of course will guarantee stagger after the L1, so I keep up that pressure, go for an R2. Not going to be enough. He goes for the spinning slash, goes for another one. I'm not having pretty much any of it. Force back now once again. I do set up the blue feather because I'm just shy on range. He tries to go for the crouch L1. I managed to go for the run R2, which of course will interrupt him there, and I managed to get that. It's cool. It's a really cool little setup. Sacred Blade is more or less mandatory to get the insane amounts of damage that you're able to output on this thing, and I think the only real thing that it struggles against is hyper armor, and it'll become when it's relevant. I'll bring it up to go for that. There, you see the importance of trying to go for that bit of poise chip first to try and get that stagger. I thought I'd be able to get the interrupt. He does manage to catch me there with that projectile. Forcing that bit of pressure again, go back on that, keep up that. I'm just existing just outside. I have poise break and I've squandered it with the R2. Another cool thing about the L1 as opposed to the power stance moveset is that I can pretty much guarantee it. He stays in and I manage to get the off dag then to put him away. Another cool thing is you can L1. I'll thank Bron for this one because I didn't actually think of this as being a benefit. From sprint you're able to get the L1 out, so that's another huge advantage to having this particular setup. It's really neat. You can go for those roll catches with either the timing for the R2, or you can go from get that little bit of chip with the L1, which is the offhand attack. Go for that. He sets up there for that. Is going to be dead angling. He must be playing unlocked an awful lot here, managing to get that interrupt. I'm not sure if I got that poise chip there. I think no, I didn't. And I think I vocally said what when I didn't get the stagger there on that. So it can be sometimes hard to tell whether or not you got one hit or two hits on the Erdsteel. It definitely struggles on lat, not only because of constant ghost hits and trying to keep track on that, because poise damage, like regular damage and status, well no, not real damage, but poise damage and status damage are applied on ghost hits. So in other words, because of how latency functions, the person rolls and on your screen you would have actually gotten a hit off, or on theirs, and then you get the hit. It's just it do be weird, and you'll see another main hand dagger managing to get that, and we do get that stagger. I'm confused as to when I'm actually safe to attack here. I think he actually takes this one off me. I don't think I've fought a dagger like this before. I'm like, okay, he probably guarantees a stagger on the first R2. That's fine. I'll take that. I think I have priority here, but I think he got a ghost hit in off me, or an actual hit, and my poise count just goes to garbage, and it's definitely probably reset here. He goes for a second halberd swing. That was just kind of what's going on? How do I approach that? How do I approach this? Yo, chi-chis. Funny things like that can happen in the arena. You see something that you're very rarely seen. I've seen Marco and a few others run around with two-handed dagger and have scared the shit out of me, but one-handed dagger R2s constantly, that's a... Outside of like the Erdstealer, the other ones that have this particular setup, it's a weird one. Going for that L1, he's fat rolling. I decide that I don't want to find out. He's gonna mash in on me. I'm quite low now. Well, I say low. I have the potential to be quite low. He obviously fixes his inventory, goes for a roll, and I go for the roll catch them with the L1. I think I would have poise. This is one of those setups that makes poise mandatory. If you're not able to tank the first half of this without my L1, it's gonna be a hard time. Likewise, if you don't have hyper armor or anything like that, like Going up against this can be quite daunting because that first hit stagger just makes your life misery. Um, it's at least 140 poise damage in the two. And I mean, thank God the first one doesn't stagger. That sounds like an absolute war crime. I'm going to be chilling here out of distance. I kind of don't know the latency. I don't know this player very well. I'm like, oh, okay, I can kind of get out of that one. And I figure out the timing and then go to town. He goes for a trade. He does no damage. And then we trade then on the Sacred Blade, which having our own poise stick here on things that have very high momentum. So maybe not really fists, because fists are so quick and they have such low recovery. But other things like maybe a PSCS, even though they're going to do nuclear tier damage themselves, you can still spiral off of that then on the trade into another L1 to roll out. Or depending. And this is Omega. Omega's another phenomenal player. I believe South American. So you can imagine how this one goes. He takes out the dagger. And that's going to be a little bit of latency. I do manage to get that interrupt on him. But the shield is something that I haven't really fought many shields on this. I'm not quite sure what to do here. He does manage to roll out there that R2. I kind of have to play off of the L1s a lot. And because he has rot here, I'm quite cautious. I tried to space that out again. I think he's going to go for something else. Try and go for an R2 there. He can kind of chill. I try and strafe it. That was a mistake. I think I should have had that bit of damage. I keep out that pressure, force a roll out of him. Not going to matter much. I don't have really status here. I am forced to go for that that bolus there. I have no choice. If I don't go for it, I'm pretty much dead. And if I do, I'm going to take some damage. So he's put me into a nice and good spacing, good aggressive spacing here on the side of Omega. I go for the jump R2. I roll out immediately, expecting a crouch poke to come out of it. But no, he staggers it and manages to put me away. Unfork, bestie. Hate to see it. GG's though. As we set up for our next fight. I haven't fought enough shields to be able to say 100%, but the fact that it doesn't feel like you do very much damage, it might be good for applying a status, but if not, you can't really apply status on this. You don't have any means. It's an Erdsteel. Oh, I apparently didn't edit that out. Interesting. End of the editor strikes once again. Forcing out there, we are going to see the L2 comes out. Sacred Blade, get those buffs up. This is a setup because it is such high recovery. I'm going to space it out. I'm expecting him to do the follow-up. Most people generally do. He follows up that time. I managed to hit him with the first. I realize now that I don't actually need to do anything. I could probably stagger him with the off dag. I think I try that at some point just to see if I can actually get that stagger. Nope, I set up, he doubles rolls it though. And now we set up there. No, I don't manage to stagger him, so he does just enough poise there. We strafe out that halberd, go for the second just in case he tries to mash. I am going to eat that one though. I do try and go for a strafe. I'm not sure if he dead angled it or not. And then we get the guarantee there. I wasn't expecting him to roll in. Thankfully he did, which I had already cocked the R2 just to be ready to go with it. Which is risky. It is low enough recovery. I don't usually have to worry about it on a roll. There's not many things I do have to worry about, but even so, kind of risky play on my part. I'm kind of not a safe thing to do as a general rule is to go for those follows up. If you watched my tournament footage from yesterday, I go for those follow ups a lot and get absolutely punished to high heavens for it. Silly goose moment. I know why I think I'm doing it, just to stop them from coming in on me and give me some space, but usually what it ends up doing, especially if people are expecting it, is it just gives me an awful lot of pressure. I do decide to trade with that. He goes for that and I manage to hit him with the stab. Probably some high latency considering that was borderline face stab, but he'd obviously initiated a press and that gave me time to actually get the backstab in. Fork bestie. And moving on now into the next round. I'm actually forgot what this next one is. I think it's okay. It's this guy. I can't remember. Oh no, is he using great? Yeah, he's using two-handed. This struggles against hyper armor because most of its game plan, as a general rule, kind of lives and dies around getting that poise chip. I can't poise chip him because every time he swings, he regains his poise. So that makes it quite difficult for me to get that chip and guarantee the second. Like, you see how carefully I'm playing here. I should be an awful lot more aggressive. I'm kind of not sure what to do because he can just press on everything. I go for that off dag and follow up again. My mistake here was I should have like kept up a little bit of pressure, forced to press. And we go for the flaming strike there. And I try and space it out again, but it was just a little bit too close. Kind of a mistake, and that's just a flat out spacing mistake. I tried to follow up with that. I am going to eat an insane amount of damage here. I'm pretty much on death's door. Menuing. Task manager boots up there for the menu. I do manage to get a little bit of chip out. Try and go for another one. It's no dice though. Forced back now. And I panic rolled there because I was full sure he was going to go for a standing R1. That's me trying to do something that I really shouldn't be bothering doing. I should be just, you know, chilling. Forcing a bit of pressure. I have enough recovery that I can confidently press in people and still roll out. I did not leverage it because I was trying to go for those R2s. I think I kind of learned my lesson. I kind of sat back and thought about it and was like, no, don't do that again, you silly goose. See, I'm still kind of existing. We managed to get that strafe here. This person seems to be relatively low lat. Go for that R2 again. Space it out there once again, and I'm existing in his space, trying to get that tasty bit of pressure in on top of him. I do elect to roll that just because it's safer. He rolls, and I managed to catch him then with the R2. I was just close enough to be able to catch it that time. Safe. He could have pressed in my face, and I would have had pain and suffering instead of a windscreen. So that is something to try and keep in mind. I played a little bit more risky that time. Not Sir Adrix. Sir Adrix, I know he's a Twitch chatter. I'm not actually sure, does he stream? Probably. Force back now once again. We're going to be playing kind of a longer game here. He does know what he's doing here, and he is playing a build that can do quite an awful lot of damage. It's nowhere near Old School Slicer. Old School Slicer was a war crime. I managed to get a tasty amount of damage there. He follows up here. I'm content. I try and go for the Sacred Blade there as a punish, which I do manage to get. Off dag comes out there, manages to get a tasty amount of damage. I'm eating those, and I really should be rolling them. I'm just going to be up in his face because I realize I can do enough damage. He could have set up for the spinning weapon to try and nuke me. He might have actually won if he'd done that. Definitely something to keep in mind. That was an aggressive play for me, especially opening with the R2 as opposed to going for the L1, which would be much more safe. I could have rolled out and then kind of decided what I wanted to do from there. So that's just that. The Erdsteel is a fun one for one simple reason, is that you can play slow or you can do rush down with it. And I say rush down because you do so much damage, you can terrify people. It's like, wait, how did that do that much damage? Adrix here yet again. I could do a follow-up there. I thought I was in range for it. Keep that little bit of chip up so I can get that guaranteed R2. And the second one does connect, the first one doesn't. So that's kind of unfork bestie, but the slicer there and a little bit of phantom, just a smidgen. I go for the Sacred Blade again. I had just enough time. He goes for the rollout, and I have the off Wakizashi then for that extra little bit of range that I can get that punish in on, and that's that. So she wrote. It's fun because you have to kind of think about when you're safe to engage. It reminds me very much of the old patch, where 90% of high-level play was, okay, am I safe to actually engage off of this person? Or what's the plan here? You can't kind of just crutch immediately off of the moveset. You always have to have that in the back of your head. Is like, okay, yeah, I do insane amounts of damage here, but do I do enough to justify forcing that bit of aggression? I do manage to get a little bit of chip here. I am safe to move in. I'm always cautious when that happens because of the double hit and whether or not which one I've actually ghost hit on. I can never tell if I do have poise break. I go for run R2 though as a cheeky little stab from Kilo. Set up there with the Sacred Blade. He doesn't manage to punish there with the Pebble. I'm going to force back here. I can't remember how this one pans out. He goes in for another little bit of damage. I'm very low here. I probably should have switched over to the blue feather a little bit sooner. I don't know why I'm panicking so much here. I do manage to get a chip. Try to strafe out the Pebble. Should have learned my lesson. And Adrix takes the W. The salty run back was real, but it wasn't me getting the run back, unfortunately. GG's Adrix, those were some fun fights if you're watching. So, cheese, bestie. And I think we're approaching, I believe, the last fight. Who's this? Yes, I believe this is Ben MCK. I have no idea who this is, if I'm being honest with you. Ah, yes, it's Ben. He's won 15 tournaments. What a great fight to go off anywhere, and we're fighting the dreaded Anspur here that he's terrorized so many brackets. That is a I have no idea. Go in for this L1. He's very low. Parry spam. I thought I'd get an L1 there, and I think I get sick of it and just go for the jump R2. I'm like, yeah, I could time him out. This is after the gauntlet tourney where in round 1 I managed to get parried after, and tier skipped by Saucy, so you know, kind of playing around parry a little bit more cautiously since that one. But yeah, that's Erdsteel. You can kind of get a good idea of what I'm going for there. R2s, nuke R2s, poise chip with the off dag. Roll catch for days on low ping. Pray they don't have hyper armor because they can invalidate your chip and you have to play super cautiously. You can still get away with it. You can L1 just in the end of it and then get the interrupt before their startup. So you can still do it. There's the build. 65 Faith. You could probably tinker this in a lower poise build, but I generally, as a rule, like to stay at least 109 on a bull goat swap. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the little bit of commentary. I didn't realize that I had a screenshot thing pop up every time there. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, go join the Discord, follow me on Twitch if I live stream sometimes. And yeah, enjoy. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.